Hello, everyone. This is Monaro, and I am here with my special guest, Tee Baby. Alicia Kingston will be joining us a little later, so I'm going to turn it over to them so that they can introduce themselves. AU.
Hello, everybody. This is John from AU Packmule, and I am so excited to talk about the Baratheon Brothers and wrap this up. And thank you so much, Monero, for having me on. Looking forward to talking with AK and, of course, the lovely Tee Baby.
Hey everyone, it's T. I'm so excited to talk about what brother we are, Renly. I'm excited to talk about Renly. So this is gonna be fun. You should see my new sigil. It suits me well, and I'm excited. Oh man, but I will not. I can't make any promises that I won't troll Stannis again. But too much joy.
It's all good if you troll Stannis. I'm okay with that. You know, some people are just trollable. You can't. They're just trollable, and all it is.
It's like he's better than Jamie. Like you thought I enjoyed trolling Jamie. Stannis is the new boo.
And you know, if you say Stannis 3 times, Tony Teflon might show up in the
That's
chat.
for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Stannis pink letter. Stannis pink letter. Stannis pink letter.
We call him Stannis Mr. All My Life. That's the only excuse we got. Well, because he had to do this, and then he had to do this, and his brother disrespected him. So, but I will say, because I don't want to make this a Stannis thing, but isn't it typical or traditional for Targaryens when they're going to be the heir that they get Dragonstone?
Right.
Yeah.
So wasn't he doing the right thing? Okay. To Renly.
Mr. Coppertop.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through. He was only in the first 2 books, so he has a relatively short appearance, but I think his appearance is significant enough as part of the Baratheon trio. I'll just go over his brief history in his story arc, and then we'll just discuss different points and how they affect the story in general up until the point where his story arc ends. And then if time permits, I'd like to do a final wrap up of all 3 brothers and their relationship to each other as a whole. And then that will round out our discussion on the Baratheons. So Renly is the youngest brother of the Baratheon trio. He is, at the time that his parents pass away or die, he is, I believe, about the age of 2. He's a toddler. I'm going to say about 2 years old. So the impact on him probably wasn't as huge as it would have been on his older brothers, Robert and especially Stannis. So he is raised in Storm's End with his brother Stannis, so because they were the 2 younger ones, and Robert is sent off to the Vale to be fostered. And we get a description from Crescent that, you know, most of Renly's entire arc has been, his whole personality has been about to be seen and to be paid attention. He always went around making sure that people noticed him. He always wanted to be the center of attention. Typical, being the baby of the family. Probably even more so because you don't have a mother and a father around, and so people tend to be a little bit more allow you to get away with a lot more things because of the fact that your parents are not here. And so you get babied a lot more, and you're probably given a little bit more, way more leeway as a baby. So what are your thoughts about Renly with respect to him? I really want to get Tee Baby's perspective, because she and her brother are the babies of the family. And so how do you think that compares with Renly, who is the baby of his family?
Really?
Yes, Tee Baby, that's exactly what I needed. You're not spoiled at all. You are no way spoiled at all. AU?
Well, here's the interesting thing. We've got Stannis. He gets Crescent, right? He gets Patchface. What?
Look, I'm so sorry. I've been clicking unmute for like 2 minutes now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it like this. Go ahead.
No, I thought you were just gonna say really and then drop the mic.
No, it's just, you know how it is when you live stream and so you hit mute and then you like unmute because they want me, and it's like, no, just shut up. That's me.
Yeah, no silencing. Go for it.
As far as like being like being spoiled, yeah, they typically, you know, when you're the last one, it's kind of like, look, we messed up so many times that by the time they get to the last one, they got it right. I always tell my brothers and sisters that they messed up until they got it right, and then they said no more. But as when it comes to, like, I think in Westeros, a little bit different, because like I was about to say, what's his name? Rickon. He wasn't really spoiled. They kind of forgot about him. And I think that's dangerous when you forget about, like, not even the second sons, but like the other ones, because you start to notice that they're the ones who are later running things because everyone's died. So I think it's interesting that people don't actually pay attention to the younger ones. It's just like with Cersei. She didn't really pay attention to Tommen, and like now look what she has to deal with. And Tommen's just, poor child. But as far as like Renly being spoiled because he was the youngest, I think it's true. But I think it's like it's based on different families, because not everyone treats like Ned Stark, even though like they didn't really spoil Rickon, but they let his ass do whatever the hell he wanted to do. So that could be spoiling in a way. So let me take that one back. But then they did like forget about him. So I think that's the danger, is that you start to forget about that. You can even say like with dumbass, right? Pay attention to Cersei, to Jaime, and then he doesn't really focus on Tyrion, and he's the smartest one out of all of those dumbasses. So it's like, it's not really spoiling them and they get away with things, but just neglecting them, period, because you don't really see them as someone who's going to play like a strong instrument in your family ambitions. It's always like, who's the daughter going to marry so that our houses can unite? Who's my son going to marry, and what is he going to do to lead? You don't think about the other kids. If that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense, actually. AU, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll go back to what I was saying before, which was the fact that, you know, Stannis gets Crescent, the maester that's been in the family forever. He gets Patchface, who's the one that's supposed to make him smile, which he never does. And poor Renly, he's like, what do I get Storm's End. Okay, got it. But I didn't ask for it. I didn't, I wasn't like parading around asking for, any special treatment. his brother left him just like Stannis, but yet, he still conquers. So he still has a heart for the little people and people that are, not of, lords and ladies. He doesn't care about that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I agree with both of you on that. Did you have something else you wanted to add, T?
I was just I guess thinking out loud, but I just lost my train of thought. It's kind of sad. It was right there too.
And you can't blame the chat this time.
No, I can't. I can't. I'm always chasing my thoughts. It's really sad. Oh no, but with Renly, when I think of Renly now, because I tried to read a chapter or two with him in it, read it this time, for some reason I'm like, Renly is just a pawn, and I don't believe he was even trying to play the games, even cared, until Littlefinger got in his ear. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this makes now I see it. Someone had to hype him up and say, like, Stannis shouldn't be king, you should be. Because Renly he doesn't seem like he's been jealous of Stannis. Like, he has no reason to be jealous of Stannis. But someone was in his ear. And when I say Littlefinger was in his ear, I mean Littlefinger.
I don't think it was his ear that he was in.
Well, he was kind of in his ear, but I think that with Littlefinger, he took a different approach, and he knew that Loras was gay and that Renly was gay, and put Loras in a situation to hype him up. Stannis shouldn't be king, neither should your brother, because he was plotting well before Robert died.
That makes sense. And I think it's not just Littlefinger, but I also think the Tyrells also played a really big part, because they had ambitions, and since they couldn't get Marjorie, we'll get to. I don't want to jump ahead too much with the whole Marjorie and Robert plot. We'll get to that, but I think Littlefinger had been in league with the Tyrells for a minute. Because it just seems that a lot of the plans that came to fruition happened so seamlessly. And to me, I think their relationship began like quite early on in the story, probably before we get to A Game of Thrones, or probably the first book itself. So I think they both had a part to play, because it just seems to me that the way that the Tyrells rallied up behind Renly as quickly as they did, it had to be something that had been already in the works a while back.
They were very organized,
right? Right. It's not like they had to do like a lot of talking and dealing and all that other stuff, like in a hurry. Not like the way in Rob's camp, the way that they were working. It just seemed like everything just kind of moved, like in really smooth, like things were just pushing forward. Like this is something that had been working in the background, like from way before. So, but I guess when we get to the Winds of Winter, all of that will make sense. It'll all like it'll all be revealed.
I'm so addicted to just questioning everything. Like sometimes I wish, like, won't you shut up? Like, stop questioning things. Just let things be. And I'm like, well, why he look at it that way? Like, what does that mean? Or why did they do like that for me to get past it? And it's so sad. It's so sad. AK!
Okay, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
What did I just walk in on?
We're having fun.
You never know when you come in here with me and Tee Baby and AU.
Yeah, So I see. What's going on, people? Hello.
What?
I have a helper with me today. His name is.
Oh,
Hi, hello.
nice.
Okay, they don't remember you though. It's been
Hi,
a
little
while.
helper.
Okay, we may commence.
Okay, so
So Baker's dozen here.
look, there's a child present. I'm gonna need you to
Stop it. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to calm that down, Miss Lady.
because they'll be like,
Okay.
Auntie, what does Baker's
BD.
dozen mean?
It means donuts. Mind your business.
Yes, Ion, I do have a squire.
Oh, that's so cute. That's fine with
You
me.
have your own little pod. You have your own little pod. He's gonna be walking around going,
I
"Sir,
do have a little
my lady."
project.
He's gonna be like, "Sir, my lady, sir, my lady." I told you I
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm gonna pose the question to you, AK. We were just talking about Renly and him being the baby of the family and how Crescent had described him as someone who likes to be the center of attention. And what do you think, how that played a role with respect to him losing his parents so early? Do you think it could have been because of the fact that he didn't have the true guidance of his parents and because they felt very sympathetic to him because he was still a toddler at the time that they died, so they just allowed him to just, do whatever he want? Or do you think that's just par for the course of being the youngest or the baby of the family?
No, I think it was a combination of being the youngest, but then because everyone also saw him as the baby, they wanted to let him develop as he would deem fit, not as perhaps maybe as his parents would have tried to the path they would have tried to put him on. He was always the, look at me, look at what I'm doing now. I'm fancy. Sorry, there's laundry happening. Go ahead, handle that, young squire. Good job.
Sir, my lady.
You see, I didn't even have to say nothing. He heard the beep. Okay, I gotta go.
You are the Brienne to his pod.
I am.
That's
I am. I don't mind that analogy at all.
Oh,
My nieces would have left me hanging. That's terrible. How
That's
you
'cause
gonna
you
pay
spoiled
it?
it.
Like what?
That's because you spoiled them too much.
I do spoil my nieces, but I love them and they're smart girls. But last time, like I bought them Barbies and stuff, but I was like, but these are my Barbies. They stay here. They was like,
But
what
that
do
didn't
you
last
mean?
long.
What do
Who
you
does
mean
that?
they're our Barbies? Like, yeah.
Who does that? Who buys Barbies
What?
for pieces and then say, but for real though, these mine.
Apparently, Taryn does.
Because look, y'all don't understand. My nieces be on another level. And so if you buy one, you got to buy the other one. And you have to buy the same color, same hairstyle, or there's issues. And I think they like fighting with each other. I think like
They have you well trained, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
But all they got to do is be good girls and good grades. I don't mind spoiling them. So, I ain't got no badass nieces, but they will try like squeeze me for some pennies.
Once you complaining just the other day, talking about, damn it, these children just made me spend $100.
Yeah,
They're going for the dragons.
They really are going for the dragons, and they get her every time.
That is
I like
awesome.
the only who can work me. I'll give them that.
That's what nieces and nephews do. That's their whole role. And I specifically don't mind spoiling mine. And I usually give them all the stuff that their parents won't, and then send them back home.
And then hand them back.
Hand them back.
Oh,
and then
I
their parents
buy
be like,
things that light up. I buy things that make noises,
Yep.
sprinkle, sparkle. My brother makes it. I bought my niece like these fairy wings that glitter and light up, and he hates me for that.
I would hate you for that too, rude ass.
Oh yes, so
Oh,
disrespectful. Those go home. I don't want to hear none of that.
oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
I do the
brief
same
intermission.
thing.
Sorry about that.
I use last one. I love to take I think I've said that. I like to take my nieces and nephews to the dollar spot section of Target. And I give them a bag, and they're supposed to fill that bag all the way up to the top with whatever they want. And usually they'll grab all the stuff that makes all the messes, all the little, they just stuff that they have like a billion. They have like a billion of them already, but they'll get more. And then my sister's like, "Why do you consistently? I have to go around picking." I said, "Well, you the one that would have had kids, so that's just part
punishment.
That's
just part of it.
Thank you.
That's just
I didn't open my legs. You did.
That's
not
just
on me.
You know what I mean? You told me you wanted me to watch them, right? Whenever you tell me you want me to watch, you have to understand that I have to keep them entertained. Because I have to keep myself entertained.
You know your kids.
You know what I mean? You know how it goes. So I gotta walk out as the nice guy in the jail. I'm not gonna, because I'm not the disciplinarian. So I got to be the one to be the favorite. No, I gotta give him my grandma look. The look that my grandmother used to give me. I give them the same look, and then they go into chill mode. Because the minute they be like, I love you. I said, yes, I know. I know, but I will kick you in your throat.
And will not lose not 1 second of sleep.
I will kick you in your throat so fast.
Yeah, but I love my nieces and nephews. They're like smart and creative kids. So anything to like keep it going, I'm all for it. But then I also think when their parents complain about all these noises and toys and all this other stuff, I say, well, you keep having kids. It's only one of me and a zillion of them. So
just saying.
I think it's fair to say. Thank you. I'm so glad you get me on this level. I'm so glad.
I'm telling you, we be in sync way too much, and I'm not fighting it anymore.
Shouldn't. I've been telling y'all, stop fighting me.
AK is still gonna fight you because I don't know. I think she just wants to be a natural dissenter. Look at that. She went off.
You can't fight me, guys. Eventually, it's just gonna be like you're just gonna have to give in. Just enjoy my company.
I do. Okay, so we just totally went off topic. All right.
Yes, I'm sorry. Back to Renly.
All right. So by the next time when we first see Renly in the story, it's in the Game of Thrones, and this is when Robert and Ned's party are traveling south, and so the Kingsguard come up to meet up with him, because I don't think he traveled with Robert all the way to Winterfell, so he ended up traveling with the Kingsguard, which was with Barristan Selmy. Yeah, and so they met up with them at the Trident. And so our first introduction to Renly is he is cracking a joke about he's telling an old joke about Barristan Selmy. So he's
really was funny though.
It was
funny.
I have to say this about Renly. He is good with the one-liners.
He be making Stannis so mad, so angry. It's like, chill out. Like that peach pissed him off so much. He's like, chill, eat a peach.
Really?
Like,
oh my God!
Compliments of Highgarden.
Yes.
Right. Oh, I love the shade. He's the shadiest.
He's like, he said yes. Born amongst ham and smoke.
Born amongst salt and smoke. Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Really?
Renly equals no chill. Okay.
Not even. Didn't he get kicked out of the like the small council for making fun of Joffrey?
No. No, he was already gone
by
the time Joffrey had taken had become king. Because remember, he left right before Robert died. He left.
No, I think he got kicked out of the small, not like kicked out of small council, but he got kicked out of small council meeting. I think they kicked him out because he kept laughing or making fun of.
Oh no, this was when they were at the Trident, and when Joffrey, when Arya, he said, "You let yourself get this on by a 9-year-old girl." And started laughing. He started, look, nobody is exempt from getting trolled by Renly. He will even troll his little nephew.
He was trolling everyone. And yes, I would love a spinoff where people just troll Stannis, because it's quite funny and amusing.
There was a lot of fan talk about Loras and Renly doing a spinoff.
Oh man, that would have been something.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
It'll be like 2.5 brothers.
So that is where we meet Renly, and we get the description that Renly is like a carbon copy of Robert. Like, he looks exactly like when Robert did when he was his age, and we get that especially from Ned, because of course Ned kind of grew up with Robert at the Vale because they were both fostered there. And so he remarks about how much Renly looks just like Robert. And so we don't get too much of an indication about the relationship between Robert and Renly, but I suspect that there had to be something, but I don't know how much of a brotherly love there was. I don't know if it was just, it must have been enough for him to have given him the responsibility of Storm's End 1, and also giving him the responsibility of being on the small council. I think he was like Masters of
Law.
Yeah, he was Master of Law, because apparently he had to somewhat be have some sort of knowledge or some sort of acumen in order to be able to hold that position. At least I want to believe that. It could probably very well be that it wasn't. But
I think
go ahead.
No, I didn't want to cut you out. Keep going.
For all that there probably wasn't too much of a relationship between Robert and his younger brothers, there was enough for him to be able to put the both of them on his small council. And they had been on his small council, I think, from the time that he had become king, because Stannis was master of ships. I believe that there was a relationship between Renly and Stannis because of the fact that they both grew up together, and you could see in their back and forth banter that, you know, they were like typical brothers, more so than Robert was. I think Robert was more of an outsider in that trio, more so than those two. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Want me to go? I think that you're right that I think that, to be honest, Stannis might be closer with Renly than Renly would have been with Robert. Same reason why, because he went so he wasn't really there. It was Stannis and Renly. So I do see why Stannis took it to heart so bad that his brother would want to jump the line. But to be honest, Stannis wasn't really thinking about the throne. Like, he didn't really want it. Like he says over and over again, he just wants it because he says it's quote unquote by right. But he didn't really necessarily want to help the people until like book 3, I think, where he came to the conclusion, like, I don't need to be here. I need to be actually out there. So he's kind of a slow thinker. Just throwing that out there. But with Renly, I think it was more that, not that he had the like the experience or even skills to be master-in-law, but more of that's the king's brother, so we're going to give him a position. And I think because now you're talking about Robert, who usurped the throne, he has to put people that he know he can trust. Like, no matter what you say about the brothers, kind of fucked up because of how it went, but I don't see them doing something intentionally to hurt their brother. Like, they're not going to go out their way to backstab him. But with Renly, when you even think of like the meat, well, I don't want to jump too far down the line because we're just talking about Renly when they met up.
Right.
I think, so what I'll just say is that I think with Renly, he mainly got that position because he was just the king's brother. Now, during the time, I think he probably maintained that position because he started courting all these different people at King's Landing and befriending them. So no one's going to complain and say, well, why is he still master-in-law? He's just the king's brother when he's being friendly to you. So he's playing the courts and working it. So I think that's why he maintained that position.
Good. That's actually very good, actually.
Thank you.
T, are you saying why he maintained the position of Master of Law?
Yeah, I think that it had to be that. I don't see him actually being master at law and him not actually doing something for other houses to be like, you know, looking at the new king saying, this looks suspicious, like you're just trying to have all your family members to take over the throne. It even happened with Hightower when he tried to get his daughter to marry and they were like, whoa, you're trying to take over. So I think that if he didn't play his part, you would have heard that. But Stannis played his part, and I think Renly played his part by befriending a lot of these houses that they didn't complain. Because like Renly, he's more of a, like you say, he wants to show off. He wants to be the center of attention. He doesn't really want to be, you know, he wants the glory of a king, but not the duties of a king, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Gotcha.
What are your thoughts, AU?
Well, I think he's a much more studious than we give him credit for, but he's also a lot more manly in the books than is depicted in the show as well. Being that he's, you know, participating in the tournament makes him, you know, appear. I mean, he lost to the Hound. I mean, that's not a bad thing. So I think that part of it was depicted a little worse in the show. I think his japing with Littlefinger back and forth was one of the things that made him being on the council so much fun for Robert, because it's like I just can't deal with these people. So yeah, I definitely think that when I read his story, I wonder about why he thought Marjorie looked like Lyanna and why that was even a thing for him. That's the part that puzzles me, because I always thought that he was straight because of his admiration for Marjorie, but it was more of just a jealousy thing that Robert was thinking of marrying her, so therefore he wanted her, and that kind of a thing. So, but as far as his being on the council, I would have put him on the council just because he's my brother too, if I was king. So he didn't have to necessarily be the best at laws, but I think it was a good decision on Robert's part.
Well said. We'll get to the part about Marjorie and how that whole thing came about, because like I mentioned before, I think that whole scenario was something that was probably in the works from way before we get to the story. That is something that happened off page, and we're just coming toward when by the time it's revealed to us as the reader that it was something that was already put in place, and they're just now, you know, revealing it to us. We just don't know how far back it went, and I'm I want to believe that we're going to find that out come the Winds of Winter, or maybe not, but we can always just speculate. At least I believe that it's something that had been in the works, like from way back in the day. And
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the plan started the second Littlefinger stepped into King's Landing. Because like all of these houses are pawns to him. He's using this house to play this house. And when you kind of step back and look at all the moves that Renly was doing, it plays a big role in what Littlefinger was trying to do. So I can't wait till we start talking about Marjorie part.
AK, so just your thoughts on what did you
I've grown a child and she doesn't know how to stay still, so y'all might have to see, like, if the camera cuts off real quick.
Don't beat the kids. Don't beat the baby.
she was all the way over here though. She was all the way over here.
Take it around the world.
Look here. Sometimes that's what's supposed to happen.
Dog. Oh, it's two of them. I didn't even see her.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is Hope.
Hi, Hope.
Hi, Hope. Oh, look at that
You get it?
smile.
Okay, goodbye. Ooh,
It
Audrey.
don't even matter anymore. They're so cute.
I'm sorry. See, this is why I had to. Shh. Auntie Monero, where were we, please?
She got a lady in waiting.
I'm trying to get back on track. You telling me about ladies in waiting?
Okay, I'm sorry. The kids kind of make me, I get on.
I know, right? The auntie comes out.
All right. So, do you think we were talking about Renly's position as Master of Laws on the Small Council, and what our thoughts were as to why he was put in that position, and our general consensus is that he wasn't no dummy, and that he probably was put in that position because of the fact that he was the brother of the king, but also that he probably did have some of the credentials that was required. Maybe at least we don't think that he was stupid by any stretch, so that he probably did actually have actual function in that role in the Small Council. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I would concur that he did probably get it because he was the brother of the king, and I almost want to say it was maybe a little bit to troll Stannis, because Robert, just why wouldn't Robert want to do that?
I could see Robert being petty enough to bring
That's
Renly.
what I'm saying. Robert was petty as hell. So, I mean, Renly, I'm sure he learned the skills of his job and what needed to be done along the way. But should he have had that position? No, not really. Not really. Why are you trying to slide back in? Anybody seeing you, Patrick?
That's his new name.
Okay. Let me mute before they go off again.
So
They are so freaking cute.
I know, right?
Adorable.
So I'm gonna agree with everybody. I'm really liking the thought about him trolling. When we first hear about them and what Jamie said, that Robert probably couldn't stomach his brothers, especially Stannis. And anytime anybody mentioned Stannis' name around Robert, he got real uncomfortable. He probably did bring Renly as kind of like a buffer, like, you deal with him. That way I don't have to. Because he was like holding him at like arm's length because he didn't want to deal with Stannis. And in that small respect, I'm gonna say I have some empathy for Stannis in that small respect, because that's your brother. You know what I mean? Even though your brother is not totally the way that you want them to be, but at the end of the day, that's still your blood at the end of the day. And so sometimes you kind of give them a pass for something, but it is what it is. We all got our issues, and we just deal with them the best way we can. Robert loved to drink and whore, and Stannis liked to grind his teeth and cry about how nobody loved him.
Because Stannis, let's call a spade a spade. He was jealous. I think he was jealous that Robert got to go away and not deal with that. I think he's jealous that people like him more. I think he got jealous that more people were willing to skip him to crown his brother king instead of him. Like, go. I just think he's jealous. And he doesn't know how to. I mean, he has a right to be. You know what? I feel like everyone has a right to be jealous in some way, but it's what you act on it. And I think Stannis sometimes plays himself because of his emotions.
I don't know if it. I will say this. I think Stannis was jealous of Ned and Robert's relationship because he was his brother and he considered Ned more of a brother. But you know, us as the reader, we can understand why he had such a brotherly affection towards Ned because they essentially kind of grew up together. You know what I mean? So they were able to form those bonds of brotherhood, especially when you're in a situation where you're learning to fight and you're kind of like off in a, it's kind of like I have my, like you guys are like family to me, but I know I have my own like real family. And so it probably might be understandable, like the things that I'm able to share with you guys, I don't share with my family because those are two separate things, even though I consider all of you like my brothers and sisters, if that makes sense. I have come to develop a relationship with you guys based on a love of one thing because we share something that we're all like in sync in, and our minds have become one without sounding way like too freaky about
so like
it.
a werewolf connection. I guess.
Exactly. But I don't have that connection is not the same because I can't sit up and have that kind of conversation with my brothers and sisters because we don't.
I can't either. I try talking songs with my sister and it makes me so angry. And she does it on purpose. We argued for like a good 30 minutes about Daenerys' name. And I was like, she says her name like every episode. She's like, that's not her name. I was like, yes, it is. She's like, no, it's not. I was like, what is it? She's like, it's Khaleesi or something. I was like, what? She's like, I was like, Khaleesi? She was like, yeah, that's an. I was like, that's a title. It's like, she just makes me mad. But I think she does. Like, she calls Tyrion Tyron. Like, that's not his name.
Tyron.
Say his name right.
You got trolls in your family.
And then like Eli would love my sister because
and now we know where Tee Baby's trolling situations come from. They're genetic.
Oh yeah, because my brothers are at work. Like, let me tell you, this is so sad. I'm like the decent one out of all my siblings. They are so savage, and they troll worse than me. I have rules, okay? Like, I wouldn't troll Hodor. They would.
I laugh about Kevin Hart, Tyrion Lannister, Tyrone Lannister.
Why? Because he's small? Yo, Kevin Hart is my height. I think like we are the same height. I think he might have me by an inch.
That's terrible. I can't say nothing because most of my nieces' voices are deeper than mine, and it's kind of sad. It's real sad, y'all.
Don't feel bad. Let's not.
Better call And yes, I would be down for a Littlefinger appreciation podcast. I would love that because I think Littlefinger is so freaking funny and smart.
We could do that. We can set that up. You set that up on your channel. We could do that. So where were we at? So by the time we get to, I don't know what his thought. I don't remember what his thoughts was when they were having a discussion about.
Don't beat that baby.
I know, right? You see her, right? We gotta
cut the camera off. If you gonna beat over here, cut the camera off. Like
we gotta keep an eye on AK, yo.
Dodge, baby.
Look at that. She's doing her cute.
Oh, she gonna beat the baby.
Bob and weave. Bob and weave.
Right.
They don't want to see
AK beat the baby.
That's not why we're here. You're not the star of the show right
Yes,
now.
she
Yes,
is.
you are, little mama.
She's now.
Yes, you
She's
are.
now.
Y'all are not helping her ego at all.
AK don't matter no more. It's
She's
all
so
about
cute.
you.
You're the lady in waiting. Wow. Wow. The petty knows no bounds. The petty knows no bounds.
She beating babies on strings
I know
now,
she
yo.
just straight mushed her all the way to the other room, yo.
She is perfectly fine. Look, she's still smiling.
Nope. She got the
Really?
sad face.
Really? You know what?
She's so cute.
You see how she be trolling? See, this is why she likes you already. T.
Oh,
And here come Patrick.
all I want to do is buy her a Barbie. Oh.
No, don't buy her anything. She has enough.
I just want him to say "Sir, my lady" one time.
Did you hear what her mom just said? She said no purchase is necessary.
What?
Hear the request. Monero would like you to say "Sir, my lady."
Sir, my lady.
Okay,
that's awesome.
stars of YouTube. Now go away. Actually, BRB, I got
I am complete. I am now complete. Okay,
But
so-
every time she goes off screen, I'm going to assume she's beating them kids.
I know, right? She's like, she's like,
There's a camera.
okay.
Serpentine.
Oh.
What was I about to say? Oh, no, I forgot.
Oh.
Okay, so the conversation with
Renly?
with Renly. I don't want to. We already know about. He was doing like one-liners. Him and Littlefinger were doing like one-liners when they were talking about how much in debt the crown was. Where Littlefinger was like, this was Ned's first small council meeting, and he's like, and this is where he meets Littlefinger for the first time, like face to face. And all I could think about at that moment now was Varys and Renly in the back watching this exchange go by, and then Renly running off with Littlefinger and like, yo, bro, you totally got him on that. When you told him that Starks melt when they come south, you totally got him on that. So do you my question is, I'm wondering, why is it that when Littlefinger was running off about who they owed money to, why it is that Robert never like got money from Storm's End? Like they were pretty well off. I don't get the impression that Renly was struggling for like money or anything like that. And the Stormlands had a lot of like bannermen, and so I know they had a pretty decent sized income. So I was wondering why it was, or why do you think it was that Robert never approached, never just like told Renly, hey, I need you to like, give up some money? Or did the conversation ever come up between Renly and Littlefinger? Or was it because or do you think it was because specifically that Littlefinger was being careful about who it was he wanted the crown to be indebted to for the exchange for the purpose of using them later? What are your thoughts, AU?
I was thinking that he was trying to drain Lannisters to diminish their power. I thought that was the reason why he would always go to them. As far as the Iron Bank is concerned, he had to get money from somewhere, but mostly he wanted it from the Lannisters, just to try to see if there was some sort of weakness that he could manipulate.
T?
I had to walk away real quick. What was the question?
My question was, when they were talking about how the crown was indebted, my question was, I wonder why it was that they never tapped Storm's End, because Storm's End had a pretty lucrative income because of the fact of they had so many bannermen, and that was one of the things that Stannis had made mention of about the they had a lot of good income, and it didn't seem to me that Renly was struggling in that department. And I was wondering why it was that the crown, why Littlefinger wouldn't have had approached Renly in in getting money to support the crown, especially that being his brother. Why it was that he always went to the Lannisters, the Tyrells, or other, go to other means instead of, because I don't recall reading that he ever went to Storm's End, and that is where the king is from, and that actually is part of his heritage. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
I think AU said something about he wanted to basically bankrupt the Lannisters. I definitely agree. I think he wouldn't gain much by borrowing from the Baratheons and Storm's End, because I'm just thinking, if I was Littlefinger, based on some of the moves that certain players have made, it seems like Littlefinger had bigger plans with Renly bringing in the Tyrells. Like, he definitely needs to bring the Tyrells in some way, and I think that he was using Renly in that sense, and he didn't want to because without Renly doing what he needed to be done first, because Littlefinger was basically trying to bankrupt a few of these families so that they would have to force to either pay the debt or have to do something for him. I think if he would have came at Renly about Storm's End, he would have probably built bridges with the connection he was doing with Renly as far as the High Towers. Because at the towards, like, I think Storms or whatever, it was everyone saying that Littlefinger basically brought the Tyrells in, and he technically did, but he was using Loras, and I think like Marjorie was like a ruse, but his main thing was to get Renly to start talking to Loras. But he can't start taking money from him and bankrupting him, because then Renly wouldn't look like a stable suitor for their daughter. That would just been bad business on Littlefinger's part if he went at Renly for that, because he doesn't want. I think he knew Renly wasn't going to last that long, but Renly did his part, and Renly's only part was to bring the Tyrells into the picture. So maybe after the fact, but I think by then once he bought the Tyrells in, that's when he kind of left King's Landing. So Littlefinger, I think he was just playing his hands, and that he played his hands smart. I don't think it would have been wise for him to try to get money from Storm's End, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay. I know me.
What about you? What about you, AK? What are your thoughts?
Was that directed to me? I'm sorry. There's a little lady in waiting, like, humming in my ear. I missed the first part of what the question was. So can you please recap for me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. My question was, when they were having a discussion about how indebted the crown was, I was wondering why it was that they never went to the Stormlands, like, or they never went to Renly and say, hey, this is your brother, and the crown needs some help financially, because it didn't seem like Renly was struggling financially, and it seemed that he was doing pretty well from all the incomes that he was getting from Storm's End. And so I was wondering why it was, especially also since he had a relationship with Littlefinger, I wonder why it was that they never approached the crown, the Stormlands, in order to be able to get to help with the debt in the crown. And if it was because Littlefinger was choosing people specifically to indebt the crown to for his own specific purposes, because it wouldn't seem to me that Renly would say no, as long as it was to some advantage to him, or maybe it was because Littlefinger didn't want him to have any advantage at all. what are your thoughts on that?
You know, honestly, when it comes to anything with Storm's End during Robert's reign, I question why Storm's End was not more involved in general. Not just, you know, getting help by orders of Renly, but like if you look at the guards that were in King's Landing, they were mostly Lannister men. Why were those not Stormlander guards? Everything that went on in King's Landing seemed to almost keep Storm's End to a minimum of involvement. So you kind of have to wonder if that was by design or if, you know, Robert really just wasn't paying attention or didn't care that much.
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was by design on the Lannisters' part, and I think it was also because Robert, because of the fact that he didn't really want to rule. Like him ruling was something that he kind of like just didn't want to have to deal with. And that was perfect for the Lannisters because that allowed them to kind of situate themselves and put themselves in a position of power.
Right.
And I think he probably did it as a means of appeasing the Lannisters because they did a lot of nasty things in order to secure his crown. And so I think it was also in a way of appeasing them as well, because he did marry the daughter of the house. And I think that was Robert's fault. I think if Robert had at least attempted to try to be a ruler and attempted to at least be more involved in a lot of the politics that were going on in King's Landing, I think a lot of the things that were happening probably wouldn't have happened, and there would have probably been it would have been a totally different outcome. But I do believe that was why, you know, there wasn't that much, you know, Baratheon support presence other than his two brothers that were on the small council.
And they weren't enough of a voice
You
to
know what
do
I mean?
anything. Like
Right.
Frank just said, you know, why did John Aaron let Littlefinger borrow so much? I don't think that John Aaron actually knew exactly what Littlefinger was doing. I don't think anyone knew exactly what Littlefinger was doing.
I thought they addressed that pretty good in the story where Renly was saying, you know, Robert calls this counting coppers. Just get
Coppers,
the money. All he cared about was just get the money,
Right.
take care of it. You
Right.
know, he ordered them not to be so petty on the money. So
Right.
Yeah, he didn't care pretty much.
Exactly.
As long as he was able to have his tourneys and his grand feasts and whatnots, then it didn't matter.
his little girls.
Yep.
I'm gonna bite you right on your face.
No.
Now she biting kids.
I think it's mandatory that we have Hope back.
She just ran off and said, "Let me just get out of here." Yeah, you get out of here.
You threatened to bite her in the face, though. I mean, that's kind of.
Y'all don't know how she torments me.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are only seeing this.
She's
small
only a little person. How much threatening can she do? You bigger than her. You are bigger than her.
I love
Look
it.
here.
I love
You
it.
would have
AK.
seen the hours that this child. Hey. If you would have seen the hours that this child tortured me this morning, one little bite would not faze you.
I'm playing with.
Y'all don't even know her. Why aren't y'all on my side? Like, really?
Hey, she's just a little girl, though.
Losers.
We love you.
Where's
We
the
love you,
loyalty?
AK. We love
We
you.
do. We do love you.
We
All I'm
like
saying
the
is,
baker's dozen.
You too. Hey, you.
No.
For
You know
real.
we love you.
Et
We
tu,
love you.
et tu, Brute.
Oh.
It's what we do. Okay, so the next time we get around to, we've already gotten to some of the small little things that have been happening. I want to kind of touch a little bit on how the relationship between Renly and Littlefinger. Because I think that relationship was kind of important with respect to the Tyrells, And I think from the moment that the both of them had been on the small council, I think Littlefinger probably, after filling out everybody, um, um, there was a purpose in him, trying to form a relationship, kind of like sneakily, like underhandedly, like, form like a bro relationship with Renly, where, because the way Stannis describes is that what did, he described their relationship like they were always joking around on the small council. You know what I mean? He never really did anything to deserve. He said that Renly never did anything to deserve a crown. All he did was joke around with Littlefinger in the small council. But joke around as much as they may have on the outside, they probably had a lot of, at least in my head, I think they had a lot of conversations off to the side, and which eventually involved the Tyrells, and which also brings up the Marjorie plot, in where they were trying to bring Marjorie in to kind of replace Cersei, which would have worked out perfect for the Tyrells, because then they would have secured their positions, which any noble family, if you can marry up into royalty, you are setting yourself up for good stuff. And if you look into that era, and Marjorie becoming queen would be a great boon for the Tyrells. And the plot was to introduce Marjorie to Robert, and Robert would be so smitten by Marjorie that he would set Cersei aside and marry her. Now, to what end would that? What would that mean for Littlefinger, for Marjorie to be queen? I never really quite understood that too much. What the end game would have been. I want to assume that the Tyrells being there would probably be very lucrative to Littlefinger in helping him with his plots and stuff. But I don't know how that would have helped the situation with respect to what would be the ultimate end game in having the Tyrells at King's Landing, for the bigger picture of whatever his plots were. I know what it would be for the Tyrells, for any noble family. And that would essentially, put the Lannisters on the outskirts, and they really wouldn't have a leg to stand on, because the Tyrells have a bigger army than the Lannisters do. And if you were to combine the forces of the Tyrells and the Stormlands, the Lannisters would have no chance of, like, if they wanted to fight or anything. So I know T Baby has some thoughts on that, but AU, let me get your thoughts on that, in that respect, with respect to the relationship between Littlefinger and Renly, and how that relationship kind of fostered this Tyrell thing.
Well, one of the great things about men is that they love to have their egos pumped. And so it doesn't matter whether you're gay or straight, being told that you're going to be the better king or better person or better salesperson or the best writer, I mean, that just makes you stand 6 foot tall no matter what. So yeah, he knows exactly what Renly needed. Littlefinger is the master of that. And so, oh, look, Gemma's here. Thanks. Sorry. So yeah, he's one of those guys that knows exactly what they need, both physically and mentally. And so he just feeds in on Renly's desire to do that. So it's just a great way of showing Littlefinger is a master manipulator, even though he's not really directly involved. And that's what's so great about it.
You know what? Random sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
How exactly were they going to get Marjorie with Robert. I mean, you can't.
He was going to
necessarily
divorce. He was
do
going
that
to divorce the queen.
continuously.
I
But
think.
she would have to get him to the point to where he would want
Well,
to be with.
if you look at the
That takes
if you look at the story of Henry VIII, right? When Henry VIII was married to Catherine of Aragon, by the time that he met Anne Boleyn,
yeah,
they were all a part of the court. They will all
Mhm.
come to court because it's not uncommon for noble houses or to be invited to court. And I think that was probably what they were going to do. They were probably going to invite the Tyrells because the Tyrells are essentially the what's the word I'm looking for? What was Hoster Tully, the
warden? He was warden of the South.
They were,
I believe.
Yeah. So they had a very prominent position in Westeros. And so them coming to court wouldn't have been nothing different. And that's all it would have taken for them to come to court. And while they were having whatever festivities or dinners or whatever it is, she would just probably be put on display. And that's probably all it would have taken for her to eventually catch Robert's eye. And I think that it would have probably played out the same exact way that Anne Boleyn, the Anne Boleyn situation played out with Henry VIII. I think that's probably how that would have worked.
Marjorie can't get away from that Anne role that she played.
Exactly.
Basically did the same thing here.
That's why they picked her.
Just saying.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
All right, I got you.
When you're that good at that role,
Yeah, you might as well
why not?
get
Right. I'm going, Sunny, that I'm gonna have to agree with you on it. I have not seen a divorce in Westeros. That's why I always talk about what's Tyrion going to do when it comes to Sansa, because I've never seen someone divorce. It's either your husband's dead and then you can marry again. So I'm with you on that. But I think that the Tyrells had to play a role in the whole Five Kings War because of the wealth that they have and that of the army size they had. I think that Littlefinger was in Renly's ear talking about how those kids aren't his, trying to get another potential suitor. Because the one thing I realized is that no one went to Robert and said, hey, those ain't your kids. Like, look at the hair, look at something. Like, certain people would point out to say, okay, and Robert would react. And everyone kept saying the same thing. If you don't have evidence, he's not going. That's not true. Because I think if Ned would have came to him and said, that's not your children, he would have took Ned for his word. Even I think he would have took his brother's words for it.
He would have taken John Aaron's word also.
He would have took his word. But what was the key thing? Evidence. Who threw that idea out there? It was Littlefinger. He says he's not going to believe you. You need evidence. And it's true. They would have needed some type of evidence or something. But how the hell are you really going to get evidence?
Back then, you couldn't. All you had was a book that said black of hair, blue of eye.
But it still would have been speculation. But the thing is, I think Robert still would have acted in such a way, and that's not how Littlefinger wanted everything to unfold. He had to weaken a lot of these houses. And Littlefinger could maneuver the Starks and the Lannisters together, but there are also major houses that would have taken sides, and that would have played a role. He had to weaken the just as much as he had to weaken the Lannisters, he had to also weaken the Tyrells. So I don't think it was, or at least this is how I read it, it's not that, they were going to get a divorce. I think he was like, he jumps out there and he doesn't always think everything through, that he jumped out there ready to try to get him a new wife, to put him up on some list, because who knows. But I think that about the fact that no one came to him and said, hey, these aren't your kids, made me think that's Littlefinger talking. So when I think about the Tyrells, how did they come into play? Because Littlefinger needed Renly to bring them in. That's the only big part he really played in.
They needed controversy.
Right. You have to weaken them because, like you said, they had more men than I think the Lannister army, or just as much. They have almost I don't know if they're as wealthy as the Lannisters, but they do have a lot of money, to the point where Tywin knew that he needed them to a certain extent. But you can even go further. Tywin was planning on betrothing Marjorie to Jaime. So once that whole Joffrey situation, he didn't even say she could be queen again, because like, he's a dumbass, but even his dumbass would look and say, okay, oh, is the baby there? Okay, baby's out the room. Whew. So even Tywin's like dumbass, even he would have seen like, okay, like they seem like they're moving. And so he's probably looking at like, I'm stretched out here, I'm stretched out there, like I need them as allies, but I don't want to give them that much power. And that's why he kind of knocked them down. It was like, well, I'm trying to marry Tommen off to someone else, but you can have Jaime. Mind you, this is, I think, after the hand is gone. So it's like, nobody wants no bum ass Jaime when I was about to be the queen. You want me to just be the lady of the rock? Like, oh, whatever. I just think it's a slight. So when I think of the Tyrells and the moves that they made, I think that Littlefinger knew they had to play a certain part where I think Littlefinger was playing a part where he knew that it wasn't going to work out with Renly. And I think he knew that it wasn't going to work out with Robert, because I think Littlefinger knew Robert was going to die soon enough. And I think he knew that Renly was going to die soon enough. He had played the position where he could play both sides, but based on how things worked out, it seems like Littlefinger was only planning for certain people to be around for a certain, with what's the dude's name that's always, well, I don't know why I'm messing people's names up, but the one who and I can't think of his name right now.
Dantos?
Shadrach.
Yeah, Dantos. I was about to say Doritos like a dumbass. Dantos, yes. And so even Dantos played, you saw how he was always spending time in the gods with Sansa and all that. He played his role, and as soon as he delivered Sansa to him, he's dead. He played, and High Garden's played a certain role, but it wasn't for him. But their role wasn't to actually take over King's Landing. It was just to be a part of it so that they can be weakened as well. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. It makes good sense. I don't want to get in the mindset that Littlefinger is a savant, because I don't think he's a savant. I think that a lot of times he puts things out, and a lot of the times things end up working out eventually in the cycle of things, because people in and of themselves kind of put themselves in a situation where they end up not making the right decisions. You can manipulate someone to kind of guide them in the direction that you want them to go, but it doesn't always mean that you're always going to get the outcome that you're looking for, because you can never tell what another person is going to do or how they're going to react to the stress that you, or you know what I mean.
Well,
what you put in front of it. But I think everything ended up working out perfectly for Littlefinger in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, but not all of like his the things that he plants out and puts out there works, because you could take Cersei, for example. He knew that if you gave her that much power, she was going to mess up. But in Feast, he was like, she's messing up way faster than I thought, that he now has to plant more seeds out there to kind of counteract. So I don't want it to make it seem like I think like every time he sets these people up that he knows that they're going to react, but I think that he people in certain situations, and I think he knows that the outcome's going to be few. It's like 4 or 5 different outcomes if you put him in a situation. I think that he knows, he reads people well enough to know how they would react in certain situations, and almost go off once he gets them in situations. So like I said, I think that he was playing Renly, and that his main goal for Renly was to get the Tyrells into King's Landing, but he could have did more with Renly. And then it could, but the main goal I think for Renly was get them in here, because if you think about the Tyrells, if they joined Stannis' army, that was a done deal. If they joined the Lannisters right then and there, done deal. What would Littlefinger get out of that?
Well, I think it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say, if Renly had won the crown, it would have worked to Littlefinger's advantage, because he already had Renly's ear. They already had an established relationship, so it would have worked out. It would have worked out. I think it would have worked out to Littlefinger's advantage anyway.
If it did, I think Littlefinger would have ended up backstabbing him somehow and
Of
saying,
course,
you know,
of
course. I think like
it would just made it easier for him to do that.
You know what, it could be, unless, you know how Littlefinger, he's thinking like 10, 20 steps ahead. Like, this is a small piece, but like, I think the whole bankrupting houses and collecting their debts and stuff, I think it's just all pieces to like this big thing. But you know, I do think that he doesn't get it right every time, and that if they were to marry into the house, it would have been okay, but I think he wouldn't have been satisfied enough. Like, that wasn't his main goal. Because again, he doesn't want the houses to be strong enough that he can't take over King's Landing. In a situation, if he would have had like not the High Towers, but if he would have had the Tyrells and the Lannisters link up, I don't see how I think it would have been a harder time for him to take control over those houses if they were strong and united. And at that point in time, they were stronger houses. They weren't really in that many wars at the time. So it would have been easy to get them to, you know, agree to something, but I don't think it would have benefited him more than it would have benefited those houses. Because Littlefinger only cares about himself. So.
True. He is somewhat narcissistic.
Stop.
So with respect to Marjorie, I think the conversation that he has with Ned, where he shows Ned a picture of Marjorie and he says, "Doesn't she remind you of someone? Doesn't she look like Lyanna?" I think that was for the purpose of trying to gauge whether or not Robert would actually kind of fall for Marjorie. Because if Marjorie looked like Lyanna, I think it would probably make it a lot easier for him to want to fall for Marjorie than if she didn't. I think he would have fell for her regardless, but I think her looking a little bit like Lyanna, or being given the impression that she is like a lot of Lyanna reincarnated, I think that would have kind of made it a lot easier for him to be able to fall for her. And another point I want to touch on, in the feudal era, I don't think they had I don't think it was they called it a divorce per se. I think a king can set aside his queen, or annul a marriage, or declare a marriage. I forget what word I'm looking for, but it's kind of like the marriage was never legal in the first place. And he could come up with any reason. And I'm gonna go back to Henry VIII, because I like looking at
that's essentially Robert. So
yep.
Right. So so when he wanted to get rid of Catherine of Aragon, I think that's what it was. He couldn't just get rid of her, because their marriage was essentially legal and binding. So he went to the Pope in order to try to get the marriage annulled. Well, first he read a passage in the Bible, and I believe it was in the Old Testament. I believe it was in the book of Leviticus. Like, if you're not supposed to marry your brother's wife.
Uh-huh.
Married to Henry's brother, and Henry's brother died, and And so when Henry VIII took the throne, he ended up marrying his brother's widow. Well, that is what we're led to believe. And so when he read that passage in the Bible, because remember, he was trying to produce an heir and he couldn't produce an heir, and Catherine had like so many, every time she had a baby, they ended up dying. And so the only heir the only surviving child that they ever had was their daughter, Mary. So when he decided that he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, he wanted to get rid of Catherine. And so he went to the Pope, because at the time they were a Catholic. That was the religion, of the country was Catholicism. He went to the Pope and the Pope refused. And his basis was because of the fact that he married his brother's wife, according to the Bible, that was a sin. And so their marriage was, they never should have been married in the first, right. It shouldn't be recognized. And so the Pope said no, because what Catherine wrote back to the Pope and said, well, her and Henry's brother were never married, because back then, what they consider you being married is they put the both of you in the bed and you're supposed to consummate the marriage. And once you consummate, that is you being married. And she reveals that, well, nothing happened. They never had sex. And so in essence, they were never really married. And so what Henry does is, well, he decides that he's going to break from Catholicism and he's going to create his own new religion, and he's going to become the head of religion. And so by doing that, he was able to set aside his marriage to Catherine in order for him to be able to marry Anne Boleyn. I don't think at the time they called it divorce, or they mentioned it as being a divorce, but if that would have been the route, I think the plan probably would have been, if Robert were to fall for Marjorie, they would probably reveal that all three children that Cersei had were not his biologically. So therefore, she was actually in effect guilty of treason, which is what they accuse Anne Boleyn of. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been a mix. So Cersei would have in effect become the Anne Boleyn of the story, and she would have been found guilty of treason and cuckolding the king, and in effect she would end up being, beheaded or whatever, executed or whatever the case may be. Her and Jaime. I don't know if Robert would have killed Jaime. He probably would have exiled him or something to that effect. But I know for sure he would have chopped Cersei's head off. That was going to be non-negotiable. And with respect to the kids, I don't know if he would have killed the children. I think the children probably would have been spared, but they probably would have been stripped of any titles. They would have just been regular Joe Schmoes or whatnot.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I want to. The only thing is that we never really saw it in the books. The only situation that I'm thinking of is Daemon Targaryen, the Rogue Prince. I know he had a wife, but I'm not sure if she died before he remarried or what happened to her. I can't think of. So that's the only situation where I think that you can marry someone and marry another one. But once again, I'm not sure if she died before he remarried or what happened to her. I can't remember. But so that's the only pause I have with the whole, even though we're saying divorce, it could be called something else. I think that's the only thing, because we haven't seen a situation like that. We've seen Targaryens have 2 wives, but not divorce one. And then even though I'm not sure, I think he might have killed those kids because, there was that time where Joffrey opened up the cat to show you the insides and he backhanded him. I think if he was chasing a kid that was a Targaryen, that was a baby, and was chasing them to kill them, I don't think you could put it past him that he wouldn't kill those kids. But then you would have to answer to Tywin. And I think that's where it gets tricky, because even though Tywin just one house, he has a lot of friends. He has a lot of allies, and all he has to do is say, I have money.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And he's
So I
vicious.
think that's
Look,
he's okay. Tywin's, I'm sorry. You're lucky that the babies are in the room, because Tywin is a punk.
Okay, we know.
And he is. I'm just saying,
Thank you.
Tywin stays out of it and lets everyone. I know I'm thoughtful. Everyone, he just stays out of place and watches everyone fight, and then like jumps in at the last minute. And he does it too often that I'm just like, he's not all that was cracked up to be, because even Littlefinger was playing him the entire time, even getting him to help out with the Crown's debt. But you know, he's so smart. The baby saved Tywin.
Well, I think what ends up happening, and why it's so easy for Littlefinger to manipulate a lot of these people, is because they are stuck on their thought of their positions, that because of the positions that they hold, that they already automatically garner a certain level of respect and notoriety, that nobody would dare cross them in any way, and anybody who would cross them would have to be of somebody of equal stature.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they look at the full picture also because of that. I think Tywin's mistake is, one of his major mistake is that he feels that people fear him so much that nobody would dare to do anything to cross him or go against him. And even if somebody were to do that, then he would just get rid of them. He would never think that anybody would dare to manipulate him in any way, or would think to manipulate him. What happens is, I think he started to learn that with Robb. He really became really like scared when he saw that how Robb was like outmaneuvering him on the battlefield. So he took the easy way out, right? He took the cheap way out, because he knew darn well. Now, Robb didn't have as many men as Tywin did. Tywin had way more men than he did, but he still wouldn't face him on the battlefield.
Because he's a punk, but you know, people
that goes to show you. That just goes to show you.
Thank you again for censoring.
That's one way to change the description.
You know what I wanted to say, but we'll call him a punk.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know why you're saying bye. You're staying right there.
I said hi.
Get it right, Auntie AK.
You know what? I'm done with this turn cloaking business of all of you on the panel. Okay, y'all don't even know this little girl. You're not supposed to be taking her side on nothing.
You just know she's cute. That's all.
She's just so cute.
I'm gonna have to do you like I do my brothers. Once they had my nieces, I say, you guys don't count anymore. It's all about the baby. So sorry, AK, someone took yours.
Sorry, look.
I love y'all too.
You know what I mean?
We love you too. Look at her, so cute in the background.
I know, she's being cute and stuff.
Really?
House moving servers.
Again, even you can't resist. Even you can't resist it.
She's smiling.
Well, she's here in my ear. It's kind of hard to.
She's
I've
smiling.
been dealing with her all day.
Y'all love in your ears.
She's so
You hear that?
silly.
I just want to be all up in your ears. Other stuff.
Let's see
Cracking herself up.
Let's say this in your ear.
What? Okay, you get one more. Say one thing. What?
I just want to be all up in your ear.
Are you done now?
Aww.
She just want to be close to you. Let's see.
Look at all that love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a child's love is the purest kind of love there is.
You're gonna miss it.
They'll come out here and get you.
Trust me, because when they get past that age, they get cynical and
Yep.
start having smart
Yeah, they
ass
turn into Tee Baby.
butt mouth.
Why she gotta go there though? Why she gotta go there that they turn into
Because
Tee
that's
Baby?
exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like they hit like that 12, 13. It's like they turn into mutants, and all of a sudden they got attitudes and I don't want to do this. Like, shut
I
up.
know, right? Yeah.
I've been an auntie since I was 8. Truly all
Mm. Yeah. So the only other thing that I wanted to look. Hey, did you gave your thoughts? I don't even know if you gave your thoughts. I didn't.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
The only thing
Hey, Cal.
the one thing I also wanted to add with respect to, I think Robert is king at the end of the day, and so he can, in effect, say that he no longer wanted to be married to Cersei, and that would have been the end of it. I don't think anybody would have gone against whatever his final word would have been. I mean, he's the king, right?
Even Tywin?
If he
Tywin.
said he wanted Tywin beheaded, do you think that would not have happened?
Yeah, it would have happened.
It would, but you're talking about if he would have said beheaded, or even if he didn't even touch Cersei, that would have been such a disrespect to House Lannister. I just don't see Tywin just letting it slide.
But I don't look. I do. That's why I said I think it would have played out like an Anne Boleyn thing. I think they would have revealed that Cersei had been sleeping with Jaime. I think that would have come out, and that would have been all he needed in order to get rid of Cersei. I honestly believe that's probably how that whole scenario would have, because that would have helped Littlefinger, because that gets rid of the Lannisters. They're off the board. He was trying to get rid of them anyway, and so that would have gotten rid of them off the board. Robert would eventually would have gotten rid. They would have eventually gotten rid of Robert, or they probably would have kept Robert, because you know why? Robert, in a sense, was basically an absent king, and so pretty much the small council was pretty much running the country anyway, running King's Landing anyway. Mm-hmm. Let's just say Littlefinger was pretty much running King's Landing anyway, because Robert was such a absent king. It wouldn't have made a difference to him if Robert was still there or not. I don't think it would have. But Cersei and the Lannisters are an even bigger issue, because they're too busy trying to be all, trying to gain power and so they probably they would have had to go eventually, and it just would have probably worked out for him to do so. And the Tyrells, the Tyrells were probably good to have in your pocket, because one, they have money, they have an army, and if you needed to, do some stuff and do some things, hey, you could use them to that end.
Yeah, because I think also with Renly, when he was talking with Stannis when they were the peach scene, basically, Renly was dropping like a bunch of southern houses that had his back, and he's like, what makes you think you would win this? Like, I think Stannis' only move was to do the shadow baby, because all the houses he was saying, there was no way he was going to win that.
Oh no.
Like, but I will say Stannis, I think he did. Now that I read it again, I don't think Stannis even went there really to fight.
No.
Pleading for his brother to just take his side. He was like, you could be my heir till I have a son. Basically saying everything will go back. Out of all the stuff, because you know how Stannis always about, justice and all of this. So technically, his brother should have been punished for what he did. But he's like, no, just be on my side. He really didn't want to fight his brother.
I don't think he did anyway. And like I mentioned before, Stannis offered Renly a very sweet deal. He offered him to be heir above his own daughter, who is actually technically his heir. Right. Like his daughter Shireen is technically his heir. He put his brother Renly above his own daughter, and that is huge. Especially
which makes me think that they were really close.
I think so.
I think so. But I do think he was jealous of his brother. Like, I think he was close, but I think he was also jealous of Renly, because people just seem to love him. And let's just face it, Renly is like a pretty smile and a nice conversation, and that's it. He's not really going to help you with, he's not good with war tactics. He uses, in fact, during that whole thing where he was trying to set up people, say, you go here and you go there, like the different lords started saying, like, no, I've been running their army for, A, B, C, or whatever. So I think that definitely that he didn't have the skills to really be king. He was a nice face to be king and let other people run it. But Stannis did go there, but he didn't want to kill his brother. But what I can say about Renly was never going to kill his brother. He made sure I think he said he was going to give it to Loras to be the first blow or something. He was banking that Loras was going to kill Stannis. He was never going to touch him, which I think was kind of messed up at the end of the day. He actually went through it. Because even though you could talk all this stuff and say, yeah, I'll kill you and all that, I don't think Renly was ever had the guts to actually kill him, whereas Stannis actually did. So
I don't believe that Renly would have ever killed Stannis. I don't ever really believe that. In his plan. And I don't believe, and I agree with you. I don't believe that Stannis went there with the intent purpose of killing Renly. I think he honestly went there. I think he not only did, it was Melisandre in his ear. I honestly do believe that's what it. At least that's my own personal opinion.
No, but that makes him more of a you know what.
Yes, I know it does, and I agree. I totally agree with you. It does.
I'm just saying,
because I think he should have did what Davos had gone the route that Davos had originally told him. Mm-hmm. King's Landing was weak because Tywin was out fighting Robb. And they didn't have any, they were kind of left, kind of almost defenseless. And Stannis had enough men that if he wanted to go into King's Landing and take it over, he could have. He had enough men to do that. He didn't need a really huge army, just enough men to go in and secure the throne. And he had that. But no, he was too busy trying to go and get what was his by rights, which was Storm's End, because he felt he needed a huge army. And because of that, it ended up costing him more in the end. And I think it was bad karma that cost him the Battle of Blackwater, because you can't go and kill your brother the way that you did and don't think that you're not going to answer for it. At least that's just my own personal opinion. I think
I agree with you on that. That's not how the world works.
No, you are a kinslayer.
He is, and people actually say that he's not, and I don't understand, because technically it was his shadow. It was him, and drugs and blood was shed, which means that the curse is there. Like he's cursed. So there's no. I just don't think he's going to get to the Iron Throne, and I think his situation is going to be kind of like Dany's, except for where you have Dany who's like trying to get to the throne, but it's all these obstacles like leading her away. I think the more he gets towards attaining the throne, the more he's probably going to end up getting corrupted by doing like these.
I think he's going to die. He's going to die in the north. I don't think he's going to ever make it south.
Yeah.
I think he's going to die.
I don't either.
I do believe that he will get Winterfell, but I don't think he'll ever make it past south of Winterfell. I think he's going to die in the north.
Yeah, it's not going to end the way that he thinks it is, and I think it's going to be more tragic how he ends, just because of what he had to do in order to get the crown.
I think he'll realize that in the end. I think he'll have a moment of clarity in the end when it does come to him, but not to stray too far off topic. So,
why
we get.
I just why chat room why. And when I say why, I mean Baker's dozen. Why?
I didn't say it. I was repeating what they were talking about before. You didn't say nothing. Shut up.
Y'all are so lucky the baby is saving y'all.
Yep.
Kissed by fire. That's funny secret.
Then that means they must have heard the bedtime story. Come into my cave.
Oh, when I say I love that bedtime story, and if y'all have not seen it,
come into
when
my
this
cave.
is over, go look. She got the voice.
Right, she got the voice. It commands you. The
So,
voice of Monero commands you.
So after that whole scenario, the next time we come across Renly is at Robert's deathbed. I think that's the next time we see Renly.
Yeah, he's like, we need to get up out of here.
Yo,
Ned,
Ned, I could have
What are you
100. I could have 100 dudes here. Let's grab them kids. Let's go ahead and secure the kids now. Let's get this thing done, because I'm letting you know right now, that witch is plotting.
Right. And this is why when people
100% right, and Ned should have listened.
And this is where they kill me when they always talking about how Sansa was the reason that Ned died. No, this is when Ned died. The second he was like, no, what are you talking about? Blah, blah. Like, no, you're not in Winterfell. You're not North. Play the game. So I just want people to know, whenever y'all say, oh, Sansa did all this, remember, Ned played himself in that situation.
Yeah. And then as he's walking off, he's thinking to himself, I wonder if I should have accepted Renly.
Like, duh. That's like,
Really?
that was a goofy thought. Y'all, I want to troll Ned so bad, but the baby's here.
Don't worry. When we go into the Stark brothers, you can troll him all you want.
Ooh, I'm trolling.
You can troll him all you want to when we go into the Stark brother discussion, because it is coming.
Man. He is a DA. I will say that he's a DA. A deep DA.
Deep.
That's what you that's a stream that you should do on your channel, T. The DAs of
Westeros.
Yeah, well, you got to do that with me. The many faces of the DAs in Westeros. Oh God, look! I know y'all like to be nice to these characters, but I'm telling you, you get like a certain joy when you troll these characters. It's pure bliss. Oh, please say, you know what? As a matter of fact, thumbs this video up and go in there and when it's posted, comment and say, yeah, y'all want to see this, and I will make this happen. Oh, I'm so ready for it.
Yes.
Oh,
make sure you comment.
AK, I just want to say you are lucky, and I'm not going to bring it up, but you know what I want, that the babies are there. Because you know what I want.
Stop.
But I'm not going to say it.
Yes, it's already been discussed in the chat room. Thank you.
It is known.
So I throw it out there, and you know it.
Okay.
All right.
Very much.
I think you can say Dragon Bottom without too much trouble.
Nah, kids are smart these days. What do you mean?
She listening? Don't do that.
Dragon Bottom.
She said it in her voice.
Okay, so look, we are so special. Okay, so
Special kind of special.
So Renly, so Robert is dying, and Ned is all to pieces. Like, he is all to pieces. Like, no, Robert, don't die, don't die, don't die. And Renly's like, Ned.
So what you about to do though? Like, we got moves to make.
Snap out of it.
Be like, come on, Ned, let's get to it.
Ned is like, but your brother's not even dead yet. Yeah.
Ned is so slow. You know what? Ned sometimes act like a Scooby. Think it through.
He's like,
Ned, numbers.
I'm gonna need you to be quick. So
Renly's like, I'm not dying with you. You either in or we out.
Yeah.
He rolled out quick, didn't he?
Bounced.
He took him. He took Loris. He took Loris and took everybody, and he's like, yo, we out. We are out.
He's like, I don't need to be here when things go down.
He said, deuces. And of all the people that Ned goes to, who does he go to? Littlefinger.
Scooby, just a Scooby.
Ned constantly ignored his spidey senses, man.
Yo, even Renly didn't go to Littlefinger. I should tell you something. He's like,
well, I think Renly and Littlefinger were plotting a long time ago. Like you said earlier, that it was too organized with that. So I have a feeling that Renly was like, that was his backup. Like, as soon as Ned died.
Renly should have like, could have been the one. I don't think Renly had the idea of taking over the throne until he
Not
left.
there.
Until he left, and probably the Tyrells, through talking with Littlefinger, put it in his head. I don't think because I honestly do believe that he had the intention that probably Joffrey was going to take over, but they needed to get Joffrey away from his mom.
Yeah, like I said, things would have went very smoothly and simpler if he would have listened to Renly. Because let's be honest, Ned didn't even really want to be down there. So you could have sided with them, and he could have captured Lannister, and then you could have took your butt to the north, because nobody thinks about the north. And you'd have been like, all right, I was supposed to be here for Robert. He ain't here no more. It's plenty of people that would love to be your hand in king. Do exactly deuces, but no. Ned wanted to put his cape on and save people, and that got him.
I gotta say the kids. Them kids don't give that kid
He
no head.
Screwed off and got on the little boat or whatever they were leaving. Tell Jory to pack up all the stuff, grab your daughters, and just go. Don't let little
kid straight took your head clean off your shoulders. The same one you was trying to save. And even at that, if I was Ned and I had walked into that throne room and saw what was going down, I'd have been like, let me go ahead and look, sir, Lord, Your Grace, I would love to kneel, but I got this bad leg. Can I just pretend I just kneeled? And I
hit him with that Leonidas.
I'd have been like, all hail King Joffrey.
I could have knelt, but I got this pain.
I got this arthritis in my hip that is preventing me from kneeling. Can you hook a look? What if I just bed my head? I would have just, because that would have thrown everything off, right? That would have thrown.
No.
Is she stuck?
I think.
Oh no!
Sometimes I think it's me.
That's a perfect picture too.
What a face to be frozen on.
You look like she was going deep too.
I know that lady.
Like, let me tell you about this person.
Writing a note.
No, Gemma, there's no need to apologize for the chat. The chat goes where the chat goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you should see when we're in there. It's terrible.
Right? Yeah, when we're in there, it's even worse.
Last night.
I missed last night. I was so sad.
Yeah.
I came, I think, like at the very
the last 10 seconds, I think.
They was like, of course she would come and tend it. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I just saw it like pop up, and I was like, oh, I watch Walking Dead.
Shame on you.
But so do you guys think that Renly? I know that we were talking about with Ned, and we were going into with the whole should he have went with Renly or not. But one thing I'm curious to know from you guys is there was one part I'm gonna skip and she can come back, but there's one part where he was talking with dang, I lost my train of thought, y'all. I do this every time. It must not have been that important, or the question will pop in my head later. But with Renly, because he did kind of take Cat as a hostage during that treat with Stannis.
Stop
Do you guys think? Because I thought that was actually pretty smart.
I didn't think that was the case at all. I thought that was Catelyn's choice.
Hey, sorry.
No, he told me that.
Sorry about that. My internet was like. I saw myself like.
Yeah, we did too.
I got caught with my mouth open. And that's what she said. Anyways.
That is enough.
Everybody's smiling now.
Look, see, that's why you can't have kids when we having these kind of conversations. I have no filter. Even when I got kids.
This kind of conversation. We supposed to be talking about the Baratheon brothers.
I know. But every once in a while, look, I watched a lot of Archer and phrasing. I don't know. It's just a thing.
Word crafting.
Oh my. All right. What did I miss? What were you guys saying after I dropped off?
We were just talking about Renly pulling out of King's Landing.
Yeah.
at Robert's
Oh,
death.
that
So-
word.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Phrasing. Phrasing. So he leaves King's Landing. He takes everybody. He takes all the peoples, and he goes out. And then the next time we see Renly is when Catelyn goes in to treat with him. I forget where they were. They were somewhere off, not too far. They were at Bitterbridge.
Right.
I forget the name of the guy who owned the castle there. I want to say it starts with a C, but I can't remember the name. But they were over by Bitterbridge, and they were having a melee there. And Catelyn goes to treat with Renly. So by this point, Renly has declared himself as king, or as a contender for the Iron Throne. So he is now officially one of the 5 kings in the War of the 5 Kings. So again, my thought on that is, I don't believe that Renly originally had any aspirations of becoming a king. I think after he left King's Landing, there might have been a conversation that he might have had with the Tyrells. Something to the effect of, look, we wanted Marjorie to marry Marjorie to marry a brother so she could be queen. But now that your brother is dead, there is no reason why you can't be king, because the Tyrells, at the end of the day, want their daughter to be queen. And that's not going to happen with Stannis being the king. Second, Stannis doesn't forget, because remember, it was the Tyrells that held him, that sieged him for a year during Robert's rebellion.
Exactly.
And he's gonna remember that. So it's not gonna bode well for them for him to be king. So it's well to their advantage. So nobody wants Stannis to be king, because it's not gonna bode well for Littlefinger. It's because, let's be honest, if I was them, I would be kind of concerned too, because Stannis is the type of person, because of his pettiness, he probably would have made their life heck anyway. So I do believe that it was the Tyrells that probably put that in his head. And honestly speaking, he did have the love of the common people. Very well liked. He was very well loved. Everybody was willing to back him. He was young. He reminded everybody of a younger Robert. Like, he had the looks. I mean, he pretty much had everything that he needed in order to be king. And even though Stannis was the actual heir to the throne, there's nothing. Look how his brother attained the throne, through rebellion. So there's nothing to say that he couldn't have, taken it by force, because he had the bigger army. What are your thoughts on that?
T, I think T needs to do an outro.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to go outside, but wait. So, as you can see, I'm being rushed. I need to go. If you guys don't finish it, don't feel the need to finish this Renly chat. We can always save this for a part 2, because I really wanted to talk about the Marjorie, and I really want to talk about when they met up, and like his ties with the Tyrells and stuff like that. So much. I'm curious to what you guys have to say. But if you don't, I'll just go back and watch where I left off. I love you guys, and I need to go outside and blow bubbles with my niece, because that's what we do.
Love you, T.
Thank you for coming, T.
Always. And if y'all are still on by the time I come back, then I'll just jump back on.
You never know.
Have fun.
All right. Later, guys. Bye.
Later.
That's her way of saying,
Stannis is the king.
"Stall and wait until I get back."
I thought she was gonna say PJ. She said Stannis isn't the king. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that with respect to Renly suddenly putting his bid in to be the king of Westeros.
Well, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier with Littlefinger working his way up to that point, and it's a slow burn. It's not something that happened. The only thing that touch-toned that whole thing was Robert dying. So, yeah, I don't think it was an immediate reaction. But as far as Renly making the decision, this just shows his Baratheon line. You know, he's definitely in charge. He likes taking control, you know, and this is his I'm the superstar kind of a feel that we get from his character. So I totally expected it. I really didn't understand the whole Marjorie thing, except for the fact that it aligns him with the Tyrells. But I think if she would have just been betrothed to him and stayed in Highgarden, it would have been a much better fluidity to the story. Because that whole tension with her trying to get pregnant right away was just unnecessary. Not that I didn't appreciate, you know, Natalie Dormer being naked, but it just was not necessary.
I can understand that she looks good naked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. What about you, AK?
All I'm hearing about is turtles and jellies in my ear right now. I'm sorry. Like I said, I feel like I'm only here for show because they're not letting me concentrate so I can get into the depth of the conversation that I want to. No one cares that you're jelly.
Well, you know what we can do? What we can do is we can use this as a wrapping up point, and then we can come back and revisit the rest of this conversation later when there are less distractions.
I'm sorry. Turtles. I really am sorry, guys. Turtles. You hear this nonsense?
It's all
Jelly.
Turtles and jelly.
Hi, I'm jelly.
Peanut butter jelly.
I like turtles.
I like me some big turtles.
You are not helping. Why are y'all not helping me?
I like jelly.
I am helping. I said we could talk about Renly. We could do a part 2 to Renly. Who knew that Renly was just so in depth?
I know. I thought this would have been done in a half an hour.
Yeah, Renly is a very in-depth character. So that just goes to show you these characters are more layered than we first thought.
Absolutely.
Right. So we can use this as a stopping point, and then we could come back and do a part 2 to the Renly discussion.
Renly and Marjorie.
Because we've been on for almost. Yeah, we can do a Renly Marjorie, and then do the Renly Stannis. We can go back and revisit the exchange between Renly and Stannis, and maybe do all the one-liners of Renly during that exchange. Yes, born amongst ham and salt.
Smoke and salt. You like the ham.
So, yeah.
Hey, Tuki Mello. I love that name.
Oh, she said Renly is whack. I loved Renly. I think Renly was one of the funny characters that we just did not appreciate. Hey, Marie.
Hey, Marie.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up. We're gonna come back and do. Hopefully, that'll be the final part 4. It'll probably have to be next Friday. I don't know if that will work for everybody. It'll have to either be next Friday or next Saturday. Not next Saturday, next Sunday. Because Saturday I will be with my nieces and nephew. I'm going to have them for the day, and I definitely will not be able to. No, I won't. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You think AK is having problems? If you think AK is having problems, no. Whenever I have them, I have to be out of the house. I cannot be inside of the house.
Gotcha.
It's just not. No, it doesn't work.
Too much noise.
It's not even so much noise. It's just that they're performers. Like both of my nieces, they dance, and they feel like they can dance and do cartwheels and flips wherever they are. They don't understand that furniture hurt. So I need to take them where they can go. I need to take them out where they are free to run and express themselves. without, you know, without furniture, so they can show me all of their dancing and their performances, because they think the whole world is their stage. So
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for coming out, and I want to especially thank Alicia and AU and Tee Baby for coming and having this discussion with me. So I'm going to go ahead and first turn it over to Alicia if she wants to say goodbye and let anybody know what she has coming up.
Yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot coming up on my channel. You know, you guys always see me more on other people's channels than on my own, so just always look for the notifications from my sisters and AU. Say bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, little pod. Bye, Hope.
So you did.
Bye.
Yeah.
I don't think they heard
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Hold on. The one good one needs to speak.
Bye.
I was the only good one. So
Oh, thanks for helping out.
Well,
Bye.
He was my precious.
bye.
All right, bye, you guys.
AU.
So I still have day 29 and day 30 on my 30-day live stream that has been going on for about a year now. I'm just waiting for Christina to get back with me so we can get that scheduled, and then I'll have Tony on for day 30. So I'm looking forward to finishing that series, and then I'm still working on my song series that I'm doing the readings from all the songs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Aria is Blue Mel video that I did. That's another one that I really liked, and I'll continue talking about what's in the crypts of Winterfell and why that's important. So yeah, just check that out. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, y'all need to get on that. He's doing some good stuff, and it really does keep, help the day go by for me when I could click on there and just listen to those. So between that and Radio Westeros, and I still haven't had a chance to listen to the new one from Westeros History about Joanna Lannister. I need to get on that, because that
just came out yesterday, right?
Good. I think it's 2 days ago that it came out.
Okay.
A couple days ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I really need to make some time for that. Well, I'm still on my rereads. I'm still recording. What I'm doing is I'm recording. Then once I have enough to at least put 2 to 3 videos out, that's when I put out. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Phrasing. So that's when I'll put a video up. I'm gonna try to see if I can put out a novel bedtime story next Friday. I have a reading that I need to do. There was a request from Spots that I need to, so I'm gonna try to get that done. I may the next time that I'll probably be on, we're gonna do part 4 to continue on this Renly discussion. We'll do that either on Friday or on Sunday, one of those 2 days. I will let my my esteemed guests know by Wednesday, and hopefully they'll be able to make it for that. And then probably the next time I'll be on will be when we are at the Ice and Fire Con. I'll be doing a live ginger ale chat with my sisters. We all be in the same room, so there might be some shenanigans. Please make sure there are no children around.
There's no might. Expect shenanigans.
Please make sure there are no children around. Please, I cannot stress that enough. I don't want to expose the babies to things that they are not supposed to be exposed to. So please make sure the children are put to bed. And we'll probably do a couple of live streams while we're up at and I do plan on vlogging, and then I don't know how long it will take for me to put up whatever vlog video I have, because I think there's quite a few of us that are going to be there, so there's quite a few of us that are going to be vlogging, so I'll definitely put up whatever my vlog was or whatever I vlogged up on the channel so that everybody can view that. And so and that's all that is coming up with me. So once again, I want to thank everybody who came out to listen to and be a part of the discussion. So if you have any questions about anything we've covered today, please save them for when we do part 4, because I think we're going to wrap up kind of fairly quickly within that first hour, and so we can use the rest of the time to do like a Q&A of the whole entire Baratheon discussion, so we can talk about everything from Robert to Stannis to Renly. So if you have any questions, you can either leave them in the comment section below of this video, or just have them ready when we come back on next weekend. Again, I'm going to say thank you to everybody. I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend and a great and blessed week. Peace.